So you want to see God, huh? Let's let's explore that for a minute. That's the topic that's on my heart right now. This idea of seeing God. Whether you're coming from a Christian perspective or a non-believer, we may want to see God for different reasons. It could be about proof. For a lot of people, I would imagine that would be the intent. I want you to show yourself, prove yourself to us, kind of thing. For a lot of Christians, it might be, I just want to have fellowship the way that believers did in the past when we read the accounts in the New Testament of just that intimacy and that closeness, that experience that they got to have. It's like we yearn for that, and we might pray for just a sliver of it. I know I myself have prayed for, a visitation in dreams or something like that. So anyway, I wanted to explore this topic more because, and here's the little tagline, I guess. What if you already have seen God? What if you actually had the opportunity to see him every single day, if you choose to? So let me start off with one clarification. What do we mean when we say we want to see God, whether it be in a dream or a lot of times what we're talking about is a being. We want to see a person of God. What if that is what's misguiding us towards the idea that I've never had that experience, therefore I have never seen God? First John is a great place to kind of resonate with a different way of looking at this. And I don't want to necessarily just slap Bible verses out of context. If you want to read First John and come back to the video, I think it's a good place to start for this idea. But twice in First John, he makes a sly little comment that God is love. God is love. We do hear about God loving us, and God has love. He commands us to love, but he is love. If we are a reflection of God, and I'm going to give you an analogy using um, uh, my pet. I had a dog for 16 years. His name was Samson. And Samson, when we got him, had just come out of a very kind of life or death situation. He was just a little baby puppy, and um, no one to care for him in the entire world. And I had an opportunity to reflect one of two things to this creature in need. I could have reflected that I don't care, and I could have left him to suffer because honestly, it's not my problem. It's inconvenient. Excuses, so on and so on. But anybody that has a heart for animals or a heart for those in need, you know that is not going to be possible. You hopefully take that little guy inside and you reflect to him the kind of protection and love and kindness that you would expect from the kind of God that we read about when we're reading our unified story of the Bible that ends in Jesus. So I would imagine to that little dog, I was very much reflecting the nature of God. I was being an image of God. Who is God to us? He is a provider. He loves us. He cares for us. And reflecting all of those things into the life of a creature in need really sparked something that created a lifelong bond between him and I. Now, it is a relationship that I would have never given up for the life of me. And it was something very, very special. When you think about how nature works or the way people want to sell this survival of the fittest, and it's just all about, to keep yourself alive, then, animals are just whatever. We can use them for whatever. Food, it doesn't matter. That's the survival mindset. How does loving this creature enhance my survival? It might bring me joy, but it's not keeping me alive. It's not sustaining my life like food or water, one of these things. There's something deeper going on when we work against the natural order of things when it comes to how we perceive nature as this very I must exist at the cost of others kind of mentality. And when you break that mentality and you go against the grain with it, something really magical happens. And you can form these bonds with your fellow humans and fellow creatures. And um, it, it's so much stronger, that love that you feel for them, than the strength you would have gotten physically from consumption or whatever else you might have used an animal for. And this is just like an example that's probably not going to resonate with everybody, but this is what came to my mind when I'm thinking of it. It wasn't just my dog that experienced God in that moment, or a reflection of God in that moment. It was me too. It was me who was shaped by the love I had for this animal. I hate using these terms because I just feel like he was so much more than that. But it was something that shaped me very deeply on how to not be such a selfish person, how to be a more caring person, more attentive, more empathetic. All of these things that are involved in having a right relationship with something. Now, that's, what righteousness means, right? When you have a right relationship with something, it starts to mold you and shape you, because you have to trim a lot of the fat off in order to get to the things that are going to make that relationship work. And we all have a whole lot of things that God has to trim off in order for us to not be such self-centered, uncaring people. That's where I'm coming from with this. Maybe seeing God and experiencing God is something that happens when you practice love. When you're showing love to somebody in need, a stranger, an enemy, an animal, a loved one. These are the moments that God is present. And again, read First John and tell me that this doesn't resonate with you. This was very profound to me, in the idea that I have probably experienced God countless times and not realized it, because he was present when those acts of love were going on. And I feel like his presence is sustained when you try to maintain those relationships with the people that you are pouring your love out to. When you check on them, when you do a random act of kindness for them, when you put them above yourself. How many people out there are saying to themselves, the idea of a loving God is just too much to think about, because I've never even experienced a loving human being in my entire life. There's no evidence of that kind of love existing. There is so much hurt out there in the world that has distorted people's view on what is and what is not possible when it comes to God's character. And if we are indeed a reflection of God, and that is the state of things now, we have done a pretty poor job of reflecting God, because there are many, many, many souls out there who have probably never experienced that kind of love, that kind of thing that happens where you think to yourself, man, no one's ever done something like that for me. No one's ever treated me like I had that much dignity and like I mattered. That his very essence is in those moments. So have you seen God? Yeah, I think you probably have. So there, I I'm gonna try not to edit this too much. I didn't pre-plan or pre-write this. This was just something really on my heart that I wanted to talk about and share. And I hope it resonates with absolutely anybody. And if it does, please let me know.